Nova was a small alien girl who lived in a quiet human orphanage on the edge of a faraway colony world. She was only 10 years old, but anyone who looked at her knew she was not like the other children. Her skin was a soft blue color. Her eyes glowed faintly like tiny stars, and when she touched machines, they behaved strangely. Lights flickered, doors opened by themselves, and old computers woke up even when no power was connected. Because of these strange things, the other children stayed away from her. They whispered behind her back, calling her Weird Girl or Glow Girl. Sometimes they even got scared when a toy suddenly floated or a metal spoon bent in her hand without her meaning to do it. Nova often sat alone near the window, watching the sky as if she was waiting for someone. She did not know why she felt this way, but deep inside her heart, she always sensed that she belonged somewhere else. Somewhere far from this orphanage, far from this human town, far from this world. One cold night, when the wind was loud and the lights in the orphanage were dim, Nova had a strange dream again. She found herself standing in a dark place filled with floating lights like stars in an endless ocean. A shadowy figure appeared in the distance, tall and glowing with silver light. She could not see his face, but his voice was deep, gentle, and filled with something she never felt before. Warmth, love, and fear at the same time. Nova, the voice called. Find me. Before they do, Nova woke up suddenly, breathing fast, her small chest rising and falling quickly. Her heart felt heavy, as if someone had touched the deepest part of her soul. She had heard this voice many times in her dreams, but tonight, it felt different. It felt real, urgent, dangerous. Before she could understand anything, alarms inside the orphanage began to ring loudly. Red lights flashed across the halls, and a robotic voice shouted, "Security alert! Unidentified aircraft detected." Children woke up confused. Teachers ran through the halls, but Nova felt something else. She felt a strange pull, as if something outside was calling her, searching for her. She ran to the nearest window and looked at the sky. A large, dark ship floated above the town, scanning the ground with bright beams of blue light. The ship was silent and cold, like a hunter looking for its target. Nova felt the same symbol from her dream burning on her hand, glowing softly as if answering someone's call. Fear washed over her. Who was searching for her? Was it the voice from her dream, her father, or someone dangerous? Why was this happening now? Nova stepped back from the window, her small hands shaking. The ground vibrated slightly as the ship moved lower. A strange humming sound filled the air, and the walls of the orphanage trembled like they were afraid too. Nova realized she could not stay if the ship was looking for her. The people in the orphanage were in danger. If she stayed, someone would get hurt because of her. She did not want that. She grabbed her small backpack, the only thing she owned, and ran through the dark hallway. The lights flickered as she passed, reacting to her fear. Doors opened. Before she even touched them, machines buzzed awake, and security locks clicked open by themselves. Nova whispered to herself, "I am not doing this. It is happening by itself." At the back door of the orphanage, she paused for a moment. Cold night air touched her face, and she looked one last time at the place she had lived her whole life. She had no idea where she was going or who the voice in her dreams truly was, but she knew one thing: she had to leave. She had to find answers. She had to find the man who called her name. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Someone was coming. Someone who had seen her powers before and knew she was different. Nova pushed the door open and ran into the dark city streets. The sky glowed blue as the giant ship scanned the town. Nova's hand glowed brighter, guiding her like a small star, leading her through the shadows. She did not know what waited for her. She did not know who the hunters were. She only knew that her real story had just begun. Nova ran through the dark streets of the colony city, her tiny feet splashing through puddles of rainwater. The night was cold, and the wind pushed against her like invisible hands trying to hold her back. Behind her, the sky burned with blue light as the silent hunting ship searched the town. Shadows moved across the walls, long and sharp, like claws reaching for her. Nova had no plan, no map, no idea where to go. She only knew one thing. If she stayed in one place too long, the hunters would find her. Every few seconds, she felt a strange pull inside her chest, like a magnet tugging her forward, guiding her away from danger. She followed that feeling, running through narrow alleys and empty market streets where small neon lights flickered weakly. The colony city was usually busy, full of people and noise, but tonight it felt empty. It felt like the whole world was holding its breath, watching her run, waiting to see what would happen next. Nova turned a corner and almost slipped on the wet ground. She grabbed a metal railing to steady herself, and the rail buzzed with energy. At her touch, a streetlight above her head flickered, then glowed twice as bright as before. Nova stepped back in fear. "I did not mean to." "Sorry," she whispered, even though no one was around. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Fast light, and coming closer. Nova froze like a small animal, her glowing eyes wide with fear. Out of the shadows stepped a boy, maybe 2 or 3 years older than her. His clothes were old, patched, and covered in dust, and he carried a broken scanner device tied to his belt. His hair was messy, his hands were dirty, but his eyes were sharp and curious. He stared at Nova and whispered, "It's you." The glowing girl. Nova stepped back, ready to run. She had learned long ago that humans got scared when they saw her powers. Some called her dangerous, others called her cursed, but the boy raised his hand slowly, like he was calming a frightened animal. "Wait, don't run. I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "My name is Jax. I saw what you did to that light." "I've never seen anything like that." Nova shook her head. "I didn't do anything. It happens by itself," she whispered. Jax smiled a little, but it was not a mocking smile. It was the smile of someone who liked strange things, someone who was used to broken robots and half-dead machines. "Come with me," he said. "The guards are searching this area. If they find you, you're finished." Nova did not trust him, but she felt danger closing in around her like cold fingers. She sensed the ship scanning again, its energy passing over the street like a wave of electricity. She nodded slowly and followed Jax deeper into the alley. He led her through a maze of metal stairs and old ventilation tunnels. They moved quickly, breathing hard, until they reached a hidden space under a broken bridge. In the darkness, small robot parts were scattered everywhere. There were wires, circuits, broken drones, and old screens stacked in piles like treasure. "This is my workshop," Jack said proudly. "I fix things. Or try to." Nova looked around with wonder. She reached out to touch a small round drone lying on the floor. The moment her fingers touched it, the drone hummed and its lights turned on, even though it had no power core. Jax's jaw dropped. "Whoa, you fixed it without fixing it," he whispered. "That's not normal. That's amazing." Nova pulled her hand back quickly. "I don't know why it happens," she said softly. "Things just wake up near me." Suddenly, a loud boom shook the ground. Jax peeked outside and saw armored vehicles rolling down the street. Spotlights swept across buildings, searching for someone, searching for her. He turned to Nova, his face serious now. "These guys aren't normal police," he said. "They're Dominion soldiers. They don't look for street kids like me. They look for special things." Nova's heart squeezed inside her chest. "I think they are looking for me," she said. Jax nodded. "Yeah, I figured," he replied quietly. Another boom echoed across the city, and the metal beams above them shook. Jax grabbed Nova's hand. "We can't stay here. They're closing in." Nova felt the pull inside her again. Stronger this time, like something deep in the city was calling her forward. Jax saw the look in her eyes. "You feel something, don't you?" he asked. Nova nodded. "It tells me where to go," she whispered. Jax took a deep breath. "Okay then, I'll follow you," he said. "Wherever you need to go, I'll help together." They ran into the dark streets again. The city shook with the sound of Dominion machines. Nova's glowing hand guided their path like a small star in the night. She did not know where the path would lead, but she knew this. She was no longer alone, and the real danger was only beginning. Nova and Jax moved to the sleeping city like two shadows drifting across metal streets. The night was still dark, but the hunting ship above made the sky glow with cold blue light. Every time that strange energy swept over the buildings, Nova shivered. It felt like someone was searching inside her mind, pulling at her memories. Trying to find a door she did not know existed, Jax noticed her shaking hands. "You okay?" he asked quietly. Nova nodded, even though she was not okay at all. She was scared, confused, and tired, but she also felt strangely awake, as if something inside her had finally opened. They reached the old industrial district, where giant metal towers stood like rusted skeletons. Broken machines lay on the ground. Long abandoned, forgotten by everyone, this was the place where the poorest people came to find scraps, and where no one cared if strange things happened. Jax stopped in front of a large metal door half covered in vines. He looked back at Nova and whispered, "I know someone who can help us." He pushed the door open, and it creaked loudly, making Nova flinch. Inside was a huge workshop filled with glowing screens, broken alien tech, and wires hanging from the ceiling like roots of a metal tree. A tall, thin man with white hair sat at a messy table. He wore old clothes covered with oil stains, and his hands moved carefully over a strange device. "Dr. Hale," Jax whispered. The old man looked up slowly, adjusting his glasses as he stared at Nova. His eyes widened, not with fear, but with shock. She's one of them," he whispered. Nova stepped back. "One of what?" she asked in a tiny voice. Dr. Hale stood up, walked closer, and examined her glowing hand with great curiosity. He did not look scared at all, only amazed. "You have the Luminaris mark," he said softly. Nova blinked. "The what?" she asked. Dr. Hale gestured for them to sit, and he turned on a holoscreen. Images of tall, glowing beings appeared, their eyes shining like stars, their bodies made of soft light and color. The Luminaris were an ancient alien race. He explained, they were advanced, powerful, peaceful, and rare, but they disappeared many years ago. Or at least, everyone believed they did. Nova stared at the glowing beings on the screen. Something deep inside her chest responded to the images. A warm feeling spread through her, like recognition, like memory, but she did not understand. "Why?" Dr. Hale continued. "Only a pure Luminaris can awaken dead machines, bend metal, or send energy through their hands. Only a Luminaris can make technology react like it is alive, and only a Luminaris child would have a glowing symbol on her skin." Nova looked at her hand, which still shimmered faintly. She felt dizzy. "But I grew up in a human orphanage," she whispered. "I don't know any aliens." Dr. Hale studied her carefully. "Yes. Because someone hid you there," he said. "Someone who wanted to protect you." Jax leaned forward. "Protect her from what?" he asked. Dr. Hale lowered his voice. "From the Dominion," he said. "A military group that hunts anything powerful, anything different, anything they can use." Nova's breath caught in her throat. "Are they the ones in the ship?" she asked. "Yes," Hale replied. "And they know exactly who you are." Nova hugged her knees and whispered, "But why me?" Dr. Hale took a deep breath and opened another hollow window. A small glowing symbol, exactly the same as the one on Nova's hand, appeared on the screen. "This is the royal crest of the Luminaris," he said slowly. "It means you are not just Luminaris. You are from a royal bloodline." Jax's eyes widened. "You mean she's like a princess?" he asked. Dr. Hale nodded. "In a way, yes," he replied. "Her family was powerful, ancient, and very important." Nova shook her head. "I don't remember anything," she whispered. "I don't remember my mother or father." Dr. Hale placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "That is because your memories were blocked," he said. "Someone hid them deep inside your mind to keep you safe. But now that you are growing stronger, the memories are trying to return." Nova remembered the dream, the deep voice calling her name. Find me. Before they do, her heart squeezed painfully. Dr. Holly, she whispered, do you think that voice in my dreams could be my father? Dr. Holly looked at her with sadness and hope mixed together. Yes, he said softly. It is possible. Very possible. Before Nova could say anything more, alarms flashed on Dr. Hale's screens. A message appeared. Dominion signal detected. They are coming. Jax jumped up. They tracked us, he shouted. Dr. Holly quickly closed the workshop. Lights. The sound of heavy boots echoed outside. Metal doors rattled as Dominion soldiers surrounded the building. Nova felt her hand glow brighter than ever, her powers awakened, her fear rising, her heart pounding like thunder. Dr. Holly whispered, urgently, Nova, your past is coming for you. And then the walls shook as Dominion forces prepared to break in. Asterisk, the walls of Dr. Hale's workshop shook as Dominion soldiers surrounded the building. Dust fell from the ceiling, screens flickered, and the old metal beams groaned under the pressure. Nova stood frozen, her glowing hand trembling, her breath shallow and fast. Outside, heavy boots marched in perfect rhythm, like a metallic heartbeat, growing louder with every second. Dr. Holly quickly pulled open a hidden panel in the floor. Down here, he whispered urgently. There's an escape tunnel under the building. Jax grabbed Nova's arm and pulled her toward the opening. But before they could climb down, the front door exploded inward with a deafening blast. Shards of metal flew across the room, and a wave of hot air knocked tools and screens off the tables. Nova shielded her face with her hands, and energy burst around her like a small force field. The soldiers stepped inside wearing dark armor and glowing visors. Their weapons hummed with blue power, aimed directly at her. Target located. One soldier said in a cold mechanical voice, "Capture alive." Nova's heart pounded so loudly, it felt like the sound filled the room. She stepped backward, pressing herself against Jax. Jax whispered, "Don't panic. Don't panic." But his voice was shaking too. One soldier raised a stun cannon, the energy swirling at the tip. Nova felt danger hit her like a storm. Her glowing hand brightened until it looked like a small star. Before she understood what she was doing, a wave of light burst from her palm. The light hit the soldier's weapon and threw him backward across the room. Sparks flew, machines hummed to life, and metal pieces floated for a moment. Before crashing down, Jax gasped, "Nova, you did that." Nova shook her head. "I didn't mean to," she whispered. "It just happened." Dr. Holly grabbed them both and pulled them toward the escape tunnel. "Move now," he shouted. "We cannot fight them. They'll call reinforcements." More soldiers entered, firing stun blasts that cracked the air with blue lightning. Nova's powers reacted on their own again, a shimmering wall of energy appearing in front of her. The blasts hit the wall and spread out like water hitting glass. But each impact made Nova weaker. Her legs shook and sweat ran down her face. Jax saw her struggling and grabbed her hand. "You're not doing this alone," he said. He pulled her into the tunnel, and Dr. Holly followed, closing the panel above them. Darkness swallowed them, broken only by the faint glow from Nova's skin. They crawled through the narrow tunnel as the sound of boots and weapons echoed above. Soldiers searched the workshop, their voices sharp and angry. Every thud, every shout made Nova flinch. The tunnel opened into an old underground corridor, filled with broken rail tracks. Rust covered everything, and cold steam drifted from pipes along the walls. "This way," Dr. Holly said, limping forward. "We can reach the old city lines and escape the district." But as they walked deeper into the darkness, Nova felt something strange, a pulse, like a heartbeat, vibrating through the metal floor. It was faint but familiar, the same feeling she sensed the night she left the orphanage, the same pull calling her forward. Jax noticed her slowing down. "What is it?" he asked. Nova touched the wall, and it glowed softly under her palm. "I think something here is connected to me," she whispered. "Something old." Before Dr. Holly could respond, a loud metallic crash echoed from behind them. Dominion soldiers had found the tunnel entrance. Their footsteps thundered closer, shouting commands and readying weapons. "Run!" Dr. Holly yelled. They sprinted down the corridor, their footsteps echoing loudly. Pipes burst from the pressure of their movement, spraying cold mist into the air. Energy blasts hit the walls behind them, sending sparks flying. Nova stumbled, and Jax caught her, pulling her along. "Come on, Nova, don't stop," he said breathlessly, but the strange pull inside Nova grew stronger. It was like an invisible hand trying to guide her toward a specific place. At the end of the corridor, they reached a massive sealed door covered in alien symbols. Dr. Holly stared at it in shock. "I've seen drawings of this," he whispered. "It's Luminaris technology. From thousands of years ago." Nova stepped forward, her hand glowing brighter than ever. The symbols on the door responded instantly, lighting up with soft blue light. Jax stared in disbelief. "You're opening it," he said. "You're really opening it." Behind them, soldiers turned the corner, weapons raised. "Stop right there," they shouted, but Nova pressed her glowing hand to the center of the door. A wave of warm light spread through the metal. With a deep rumbling sound, the ancient door slowly slid open, revealing a hidden chamber filled with soft golden light. Dr. Holly gasped. "This is incredible," he whispered. "A secret Luminaris sanctuary, hidden under the city, inside." Jax shouted. They rushed through the door just as soldiers fired a barrage of stun blasts. The door closed behind them with a heavy clang, sealing out the danger. Nova stood in the glowing chamber, her chest rising and falling. She felt safe, warm, and strangely connected to this place. It was as if the walls themselves recognized her, welcomed her, protected her. Dr. Holly looked at her with wide eyes. "Nova," he said softly, "this sanctuary, it might hold the answers to your past." Nova touched one of the glowing walls, and the sanctuary responded with a gentle hum, as if whispering back to her, as if waiting for her arrival all these years. The hidden Luminaris sanctuary glowed softly as Nova stepped deeper inside. Warm golden light covered the walls like living fire, moving gently as if it breathed. Jax stood close beside her, his eyes wide with amazement. Dr. Holly followed slowly, studying every glowing symbol like a man witnessing a miracle. "Nova," Dr. Holly whispered, "this place was not just built by your people. It was built for your people, and maybe for you." Nova touched a glowing pillar, and the room responded with a soft hum. The floor lit up under her feet, forming a trail of gentle light leading toward the center of the sanctuary. Nova followed the path slowly, her heart beating fast. She felt like she had been here before, not in memory, but in her soul. At the center of the sanctuary stood a tall crystal structure shaped like a flower of light. It pulsed softly, as if waiting for her. "Go on," Jax whispered. Nova nodded and stepped forward. The moment she placed her hand on the crystal, the entire sanctuary awakened. Light burst through the walls. Symbols spun across the ceiling, and the air filled with soft music, like voices singing from far away. Jax covered his ears, but Nova did not feel pain. She felt warmth, safety, and a strange familiar love. A beam of golden light rose from the floor and wrapped around Nova. Images, memories, and voices flooded her mind. A glowing man holding a small baby, a woman with bright eyes singing to her, a planet full of floating towers and shining rivers. Nova gasped. I remember something," she whispered. Dr. Holly leaned closer. "What do you see?" he asked. "A world," Nova said softly. "A beautiful world, full of light. A place where everything feels alive." The crystal shifted, projecting a hologram into the air. A planet appeared, glowing blue and gold, surrounded by rings of energy. Dr. Holly stared in awe. "That is Lumina Prime," he whispered, "the homeworld of the Luminaris." The lost planet. The hologram zoomed closer, showing tall towers, shining bridges, and vast forests of glowing trees. Even though Nova had never seen this place in her waking life, she felt a deep ache in her heart, a longing for something she did not know she had lost. Jacques looked at Nova and said softly, "You're from there." Nova nodded. "Yes, I think so." The hologram shifted again, showing the planet in flames. Explosions tore through the towers and dark ships swarmed the sky. Nova flinched as she watched the destruction. Then she saw a man, tall, glowing, powerful, fighting desperately to protect something or someone. The hologram focused on the man's face. Nova gasped. "That's him." "The voice in my dreams," she whispered. "He's my father." Dr. Hale's voice trembled. "Nova, this is not an ordinary memory. This is a message left by your people." The hologram shifted again, showing a small ship escaping the burning planet. Inside it was a baby wrapped in glowing cloth. Nova felt tears fill her eyes. "That's me," she whispered. "My father sent me away," the memory continued, showing her father placing a glowing symbol on the baby's hand, the same mark Nova had. Then he whispered, "Find me." Before they do, the hologram faded slowly, leaving the sanctuary quiet again. Jacques placed a gentle hand on Nova's shoulder. "So he's alive," he said softly. "He's really alive," Dr. Hale nodded. "Yes, but he is trapped somewhere, and he needs her." Nova wiped her tears. Her fear was still there, but now it mixed with something stronger, determination. "I have to find him," she whispered, "no matter what." Suddenly the sanctuary lights dimmed and a warning symbol flashed across the wall. Jacques tensed. "What's happening?" he asked. The crystal spoke in a soft, echoing voice. "Foreign forces detected. Sanctuary compromised." Nova's heart dropped. "The Dominion," she whispered. A deep rumble shook the sanctuary floor, dust falling from the ceiling. "They found us," Dr. Hale said, "but they cannot get through that ancient door." Not easily. The sanctuary lights changed again, and a new hologram appeared, a map of the galaxy with a glowing line. Dr. Hale studied it quickly. "This is a route," he said. "A path your father left for you, but it leads far away," Jacques said. "To another system," Nova nodded. "If my father is trapped somewhere, this will take me to him." Another boom echoed through the sanctuary, louder this time. The soldiers were breaking in, inch by inch. Jacques grabbed Nova's hand. "We need to go now," he shouted. Nova looked back at the glowing sanctuary one last time. The place felt alive, like it was watching her leave, like it was whispering, "Go, child of light. Your journey has begun." With a trembling breath, Nova turned and ran toward the escape tunnel, the sanctuary fading behind her, and the path to the lost planet calling her forward. Nova ran through the long tunnel with Jacques and Dr. Hale close behind her. The golden light of the sanctuary faded slowly until only darkness surrounded them. Only Nova's soft glow lit their path, like a tiny star guiding three lost travelers behind them. Loud explosions echoed as Dominion soldiers forced their way in. Nova knew they did not have much time. The tunnel opened into an old underground rail station, silent and forgotten. Broken trains rested on rusty tracks, and dust rose with every step they took. Dr. Hale checked the crystal map the sanctuary had shown them. "It points upward," he said. "The path to your father begins from the sky, not the ground." Jacques looked at the broken trains. "So how do we get to the sky?" he asked. Nova stepped toward one of the old rail cars. Her hand glowed, and the entire train flickered with blue energy. Lights turned on for the first time in decades. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Jacques stared in disbelief. "Nova, you're basically magic," he whispered. Nova shook her head softly. "I just wake things up," she said. Even she did not fully understand how her powers worked. But she knew one thing: they were getting stronger, and the closer she got to her father, the brighter her powers became. They boarded the old train, and Dr. Hale hurried to the control panel. "This thing was never meant to fly," he muttered. "But with her powers, Maybe it can. Nova placed her hand on the console. A wave of light rushed through the machine like a spark of life. The engines hummed awake, shaking the ground under them. Before the train could move, a large metal door at the far end of the station burst open. Dominion soldiers stormed in, weapons raised, armor glowing with blue light. "Target located," a soldier shouted. "Capture the Luminara's child." Nova felt her heart squeeze in fear. Jax grabbed a metal pipe and stood in front of her. "You're not taking her," he shouted bravely. The soldiers moved forward like a dark tide. But Nova stepped past Jax and lifted her glowing hand. A bright wave of energy shot outward, pushing the soldiers back. Some fell, some stumbled, and their weapons sparked with overload. Nova staggered from the effort, her knees weak. Jax caught her before she fell. "You okay?" he whispered. Nova nodded weakly. "I can still move," she said. Dr. Holly shouted from the control panel. "Hold on. The train is lifting." The metal rails vibrated, and the train slowly rose off the ground like a floating ship. The Dominion soldiers fired stun blasts, but the train's new energy shield deflected them with soft blue ripples. "Go! Go!" Jax yelled. The train shot forward, racing through the damaged tunnel and bursting through the old city wall. For the first time in her life, Nova felt the wind of true freedom hit her face. But she knew this was only the beginning. Her father was still far away, trapped somewhere only the stars could reveal. The train climbed higher, shaking as it moved into the open air. The sky above them was dark, except for the distant rings of the colony planet. Nova looked at the glowing path on the crystal map. "It wants us to reach orbit," she whispered. "From there, the path continues." But the Dominion ship from earlier suddenly appeared in the sky. Its giant blue spotlight locked onto their train like a predator spotting prey. The ship fired at them, hitting the train's shields with violent force. The whole vehicle shook, alarms ringing loudly. Jax grabbed the controls, trying to steady the train. "They're going to shoot us down," he shouted. Dr. Holly looked at Nova. "Only you can protect us now," he said gently. Nova stepped toward the front window, her hands glowing bright like burning stars. The Dominion ship fired again, a massive blue blast heading straight toward them. Nova raised both hands, and the blast hit an invisible shield she formed. The energy spread around her like water hitting a stone. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then Nova pushed forward, sending the blast back toward the Dominion ship. The explosion lit up the sky, forcing the massive ship to pull back. Jax stared at her in awe. "Nova, you're getting stronger every second," he whispered. Nova felt exhausted but determined. "I have to be strong," she said softly. For him, the train finally broke through the upper atmosphere, lifting into the cold emptiness of space. Stars stretched endlessly around them, bright and beautiful. The crystal map glowed again, showing the route clearly. A distant star system lit up in gold, as if calling Nova's name. Dr. Holla pointed. "That is where your father is. A place the Dominion does not want anyone to reach." Nova pressed her hand to the window, looking at the glowing star. She felt her father's voice echo in her mind. "Find me." Before they do, Jax placed his hand gently on hers. "We're going to reach him," he said. "I promise." The old train ship drifted through the stars, following the golden path. Nova stood tall, her glow brighter than ever. She was no longer a lost orphan. She was a child of light, and her final rescue mission had begun. The train ship drifted through space like a glowing arrow, leaving the broken colony planet behind. Nova stood near the large front window, watching the stars stretch across the darkness. She had never seen space before, yet it felt strangely familiar, as if she had been born among the stars. Her glowing hand rested on the glass, and the light from her skin shimmered softly. Somewhere far away, her father was calling for her, and she could feel it deep inside her heart. Jack sat beside her, trying to look calm even though his legs shook a little. "This thing is flying way too fast," he whispered. Nova glanced at him and smiled weakly. "It's okay." "The train listens to me," she said. Jax groaned. "Yeah, that part scares me even more," he muttered with a half-smile. Dr. Hale studied the floating map that the crystal had formed in mid-air. The golden line stretched across several star systems, glowing brighter whenever Nova looked at it. "This route was designed by your father," Hale said gently. "He wanted you to find him." "Only when you were strong enough," Nova nodded, feeling a new determination inside her. But peace never lasted long. Suddenly, the ship shook violently, and alarms echoed through the cabin. Red lights flashed across the control panels. Jax jumped to his feet. "What now?" he shouted. Dr. Hale quickly scanned the screens. "Dominion ships," he said, voice tight. "They followed us into orbit." Nova felt her stomach twist with fear. "How did they track us?" she whispered. Before anyone could answer, a massive shadow passed over their ship. A Dominion cruiser appeared, dark and silent, blocking their path like a floating wall of metal, its weapons charged with bright blue light, ready to fire. A cold voice echoed through the ship's speakers. "Luminaris child, surrender. You cannot run from the Dominion." Nova's hand began to glow, reacting to the threat, but her knees trembled and she leaned against the window. Her powers were strong, but they drained her quickly. She could not protect them forever. She needed something more, something hidden inside her memories. Jax placed his hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone," he whispered. "We're with you." The Dominion cruiser fired a blast of blue energy toward them. The entire train ship shook as the shield struggled to hold. Sparks burst from the walls, and the lights blinked rapidly. Nova felt pain shoot through her body when the shield weakened. It was as if the shield was connected to her own strength. Dr. Hale shouted over the alarm. "We cannot survive another hit. Nova, if there is anything you can do, do it now." Nova closed her eyes. She tried to block out the fear, the noise, the shaking ship. Instead, she focused on the one thing that always felt real. The voice of her father. She whispered softly, "Please, help me." A faint glow began to spread across her skin, warmer, brighter, stronger than before. It pulsed through her like a heartbeat. The train ship lights flickered in response, almost as if they felt her awakening power. Suddenly, a memory burst into her mind, her father kneeling beside her as a baby, his voice gentle. "Your light is a gift, but also a shield. When danger comes, let your heart guide the energy." Nova opened her eyes, filled with a new kind of strength. She stepped forward and pressed both glowing hands against the window. Jax and Hale watched in stunned silence. The Dominion cruiser fired again. A massive beam of energy shot across the void, heading straight for them. But Nova lifted her hands higher. A brilliant golden barrier burst outward from the train ship. The energy beam hit the barrier and cracked like lightning against glass. The golden shield held firm, stronger than anything she had created before. Jax whispered, "She's doing it. She's really doing it." Dr. Hale watched with watery eyes. "Her true Luminaris form is awakening," he said. Nova took a deep breath and pushed her hands forward. Her golden shield expanded like wings of light. It slammed into the Dominion cruiser with a booming wave. The enemy ship shook violently, its lights flickering. Its weapons shut down one by one, overwhelmed by Nova's power. For the first time, the Dominion ship retreated. It backed away slowly, engines shaking under the pressure. Finally, it vanished into hyperspace, running from a girl who had once lived in fear. Nova collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Her glow faded slowly, leaving her exhausted but alive. Jax rushed to her side. "You did it," he said. "You saved us." Nova looked up, eyes soft. "No," she whispered. "I just followed his voice." The golden map expanded again, leading them toward a distant star system glowing like a beacon. Dr. Hale pointed to it. "That is where your father is," he said. "And now, nothing can stop us from reaching him." Nova stood slowly. her strength returning little by little. The stars ahead seemed brighter now. As if welcoming her home, she whispered softly, "I'm coming, Father." The ship followed the golden path, and the final rescue began. The old train ship followed the golden path through deep space. Stars drifted past like glowing dust, and strange colors shimmered across the dark sky. Nova stood at the front window, watching the golden light guide them forward like a silent guardian. Her heart beat faster with every passing second. For the first time in her life, she felt close to the truth, close to her real family. Jock stood beside her, trying to calm his excitement. "You really think your father is out there?" he asked. Nova nodded softly. "I can feel him. Like a warm voice inside my heart," she whispered. Dr. Hale studied the glowing map floating in the air. "The signal comes from a nearby star system," he said, "but the energy around it is strange. Almost like a cage." As they approached the star system, the golden path curved toward a small, lonely planet covered in silver clouds. The planet looked quiet, empty and cold, but Nova felt something strong pulling her toward it. "This is the place," she whispered. "My father is here." The ship slowly descended through the silver clouds. Lightning cracked across the sky, and glowing mist swirled around them like ghostly hands. Jocks gripped the controls tightly. "This place feels haunted," he muttered. Dr. Hale looked out the window and shook his head. "No, not haunted," he said. "Protected." The ship landed in a silent valley filled with glowing stones and tall crystal pillars. Everything shimmered with soft blue light. Nova stepped outside first, the cold wind blowing against her face. She felt the familiar pull again, leading her toward a large crystal structure in the distance. Jocks and Dr. Hale followed her through the glowing valley. The closer they walked, the stronger the light grew. At last, they reached a towering temple made entirely of crystal. It hummed softly like a heartbeat, the same heartbeat Nova felt. Inside her, Nova stepped toward the door, and the symbols on the crystal began to glow. A deep, warm vibration spread across the ground. The door opened slowly, releasing a wave of soft golden light. Inside was a chamber filled with floating lights and ancient technology, and at the center was a glowing stasis pod. Nova froze, her breath caught in her chest. Inside the pod was a tall figure with shining skin and calm, peaceful eyes closed in deep sleep. Her heart raced. "That's him," she whispered. "That's my father, Jax's." Mouth hung open. "Whoa. He looks like you," he said. Dr. Hale nodded. "A luminaris in stasis. They placed him here to survive," he said. "But only a blood connection can wake him." Nova stepped forward with trembling hands. She placed her glowing palm on the surface of the pod. A burst of light shot through the chamber, filling every corner with warm energy. The crystals responded, humming louder. The stasis pod cracked open slowly, releasing a wave of soft mist. The tall figure inside took a deep breath. His eyes opened, bright, silver and full of life. He looked straight at Nova, as if he had been waiting only for her. His voice was soft and warm. "Nova, my little star." Tears filled Nova's eyes. She stepped forward and fell into his arms. For the first time in her life, she felt whole. His arms wrapped around her with gentle warmth. "You found me," he whispered. "Just as I hoped." Nova sobbed softly. "I thought I lost you," she whispered. Her father shook his head. "I never left you," he said. "My light lived inside you, guiding you." Jackson and Dr. Hale looked away respectfully, smiling at the emotional reunion. After a long moment, Nova's father looked at them. "You have protected my daughter," he said. "For that I thank you." Jax blushed, scratching his head. We just tried not to die," he said. Nova's father smiled gently. "Courage is never small," he replied, but the warm moment broke suddenly when the ground shook. A loud rumble echoed outside the temple. Nova turned sharply. "The Dominion," she whispered. "They followed us." Her father placed a glowing hand on her shoulder. "Do not fear," he said. "You are not alone anymore." He stepped outside the temple, and the valley lit up with golden light. The Dominion ships descended, their weapons glowing. But Nova's father raised his hand, and the air around him shimmered. A wave of light spread across the sky like a rising sun. The Dominion ships trembled, engines failing, weapons melting. Under the force of pure Luminara's power, one by one, the ships collapsed, powerless and defeated. Nova watched with awe. "So this is Luminara's power," Jax whispered. Dr. Holland nodded. "A power born only from light and love," he said, when the danger passed. Nova's father looked at her with pride. "Now the real journey begins," he said. "A journey to rebuild our people." Nova took his hand, her heart full of hope and strength. "I will help you," she whispered. "I am ready." And for the first time, Nova felt she truly belonged. Not as an orphan, not as a hunted child, but as a child of light, with a father beside her, a future ahead of her, and a new beginning waiting among the stars.